This episode of Play the Bay is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. March Madness is upon us, and BetOnline has you covered for all news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to the website betonline.ag or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. And now, Play the Bay.
From Channelside Drive, where Lord Stanley Cup rests.
Time ticks down, the Lightning win the Stanley Cup!
Travel across the bridge to St. Pete to find our American League champs.
And the Tampa Bay Rays have just won the American League pennant.
And get ready to fire the cannons.
Lob pass toward the end zone. Gronkowski, he makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. What a great grab by Gronk.
Because it's time for another episode of Play the Bay. Play the Bay.
And welcome, everybody, to another edition of Play the Bay, brought to you by Believe Podcast Network and Three Daughters Brewing. I'm one of your hosts, Evan, and alongside me is Chip. We are without Kaylee tonight because Kaylee is on special assignment, and that's all we're going to say.
It's special assignment. Okay.
She's on special assignment, and that's all we're going to say, Chip. Chip, how you doing tonight?
Special assignment. Tightening up.
Yeah.
Well, she ran into an allergic reaction of something.
Well, I didn't want to put her on blast. I mean,
well, you're not on blast. We said that you had digestive issues in your bowels. So I mean, she just had an allergic reaction to something, and we wish her well. We hope she's listening and resting well.
We do. If she's watching right now or listening to us, we hope she is doing better. Hope she got that steroid shot to bring it all back to normal. So yeah, hope she does better.
There you go.
See her next week. So Chip, what's going on, brother? How you doing,
buddy? Hanging in there. We got a lot of good news. Obviously, the Rays will be starting their season this week. Looking forward to that. Just looking forward to some baseball. I know, just the change in stations down here and not being able to go to spring training because all the tickets were purchased. And I mean, just anarchy when it came to trying to get to the games. Spring training. So just ready for season to get underway.
I agree with you on that, man. We touched on that last week about the absurdity, which was spring training tickets, especially when, tickets were costing double or almost triple the price for like standing room only seats. So I hope they get that fixed for next year when hopefully, and according to the NFL, they're going to have full capacity.
They're going full capacity.
They're full capacity this year. So hopefully by next spring, the spring training tickets will be back to normal. But before we get started with everything, we do have a special guest. She's joining us from Fox Sports FL, the Rays sideline reporter and host, Trisha Whitaker. Welcome back to the show. How you doing, Trisha? How are you?
How are you?
Good. We are fantastic. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Are you sipping? Hold on. Are you sipping out of your mug?
My dugout mug. Yes.
Dugout mugs. Oh, I love those. I gave mine to my dad.
See, Dugout Mugs is actually one of our affiliate sponsors, so they gave us these special Rays mugs. Yes.
That's awesome.
Mine's hiding.
Yeah.
Oh, they are wonderful. They are wonderful over there. So.
And we're also sipping out of our partner, our Three Daughters beer.
You know what? Hold on. I feel very left out. Give me a second.
See, this is why we get the best guests. Look at that.
That's totally right.
Participation is key.
Okay, it's so not classy, but it's one of my favorites. No one.
Oh, there you go.
Is that some Schlitz malt liquor? Okay, we got.
There we go.
Okay. Chip, I'm drinking Three Daughters, our partner, Three Daughters Florida Orange IPA, which you can see right there. I think you're drinking the Rod Bender. Is that what you're drinking?
I am.
Ooh,
good Indian ale, very nice. They got a fish they're bringing up here on the can. Makes me want to get out in the ocean and do some fishing.
I know. We will be there this weekend celebrating my birthday, so we will be starting off there this weekend on Saturday.
962 years old. Way to go. Look
yes,
great.
Even though you're older than I am, but that's quite all right. So, Tricia, thanks for coming on the show again.
Of course.
we wanted to get into the Rays opening weekend. We're going down to Miami to play the Miami Marlins. But how has been the experience so far in spring training? I know it's kind of going back to semi-normalcy. You're going back to the games, even though you're interviewing players with a huge plastic divider. So how have been things down in Port Charlotte?
You mean plexiglass in my own baseball? Yes, that is accurate.
Yes.
It has been, let me put it this way. Last year was wonderful in terms of the Rays' success, but terrible in terms of being able to actually do my job. This year, it's like 5 steps above terrible. It's actually like mediocre, So I never thought I would be so happy to do an interview through plexiglass. I mean, seriously, I showed up and they had this plexiglass set up. I mean, God bless the grounds crew and everybody at Port Charlotte, because they literally constructed this just so I could do interviews with the guys in person, even though it was through plexiglass.
Did you almost feel like the Pope in the Pope Mobile? Because remember he had the huge plexiglass thing and he used to ride around in that. So people were
honored that you would think I'm as special as the Pope. I mean, wow.
The Pope of our Rays.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we think.
No, it's been weird, but honestly, like the PR staff and everybody has been amazing in helping coordinate everything. As of right now, I'm not traveling like I normally do with the team. Hopefully that'll change at some point during the season, but that all depends on MLB protocols. So it's been weird, but the guys have a lot of fun, like tapping on the glass in the middle of the game and like holding up signs through the glass or something. So it's actually been pretty entertaining. But yeah, I'm thankful that I can at least see them in person through plexiglass.
I want to give you some huge props, and I did not know that you could sing like the voice of this generation when you sung the national anthem.
So many comments too.
Good for you. You did great.
Bravo.
Don't be embarrassed. You did fantastic.
You know what though? Can you imagine a scenario more somewhat mortifying than watching yourself on a jumbotron sing the national anthem while you are standing there behind the team? Like that it was just a mortifying experience, right? So I'm just like, oh my gosh, this I'm about to hit, it's not going to be good. Please God, let it be better than I think it was going to be. But it was fun. I used to sing, I used to do musical theater, so it's my hobby.
Did they do that in one take with you, or did you like maybe do that a couple times?
Come on. No.
One take Trisha. That's what I think.
I had some podcast equipment, just like I'm looking, literally the same thing you guys are using. And I probably taped it about 6 times. I'm not gonna lie. It shows the best of 6. So, and then I also did "Oh Canada" and "God Bless America." So those will be playing at some point at the Trop.
Oh, multifaceted, ladies and gentlemen, knows all the words to everything.
Gotta crack one open, Chip. Give me 1 second.
No, go ahead, buddy. Well, what do you think? I mean, Trisha, today we saw Waka and Reed did fairly well, ended the season on a high note. What do you think about the free agent pitchers, Waka, McHugh, some of those guys we brought over? How do you think they've done so far?
So there's obviously, I mean, and the Rays have said this over and over again, there's no replacing Blake Snell and Charlie Morton. Let's not even talk about trying to replace them. That's not even a conversation that anybody should be having, because you can't, right? That's Blake Snell and Charlie Morton. However, this group of guys that they have, they're very talented. And you mentioned Cody Reed. I know that, he's coming out of the bullpen, but like he's a guy during spring training. We didn't get to see him a lot last year, right? Because of his pinky issue. He came over, like halfway through the weird season. But he was really impressed in spring training. And I think in terms of the bullpen, at least, Andrew Kittredge, I felt like put it best the other day. He goes, we're just as good as last year, if not better. And I was like, oh, that lights a fire, because they were amazing last year, right? Obviously, losing Nick Anderson is really, really tough. However, you've got some arms in that bullpen. In terms of the starters, there's so much to be determined with that, right? So, you've got the always reliable Ryan Yarbrough, not going to wow you with his stuff necessarily, but he's reliable. He gets the job done. Then you've got, obviously, Tyler Glasnow. Chris Archer. It'll be interesting to see this year how he rebounds from a couple of tough years with the Pirates. But from what I've heard from Kevin Cash and the coaching staff and Kyle Snyder and Zunino is that, he's looking really good. So, and in spring training, he looked fine.
Yeah.
So, and Rich Hill, only 41 years
king
old.
Of the curveball.
Right.
King of the curveball and king of the innings, this guy.
And I think that he brings – so I know this is really cliche, but I really do feel that it's important to have that veteran presence in the clubhouse, especially on the pitching staff, because that is what you lost in Charlie Morton. And obviously their stuff matters on the mound, but – those players will tell you one of the reasons the Rays were so good last year and the year before that is because of what they had in the clubhouse. And I think having Rich Hill, a 41-year-old who has been there, done that. I mean, like I interviewed him the other day and I'm like, you're a little bit of a tough interview because you don't take any BS. You don't take BS. You don't have time for nonsense. You shoot it straight. So yeah, I think they're going to be good. I'm hesitant to say how good because obviously we don't know how they're. Especially Chris Archer is a little bit of the wild card, but I'm optimistic. I think they'll be good.
I was going to say with interviewing Rich Hill, who has probably one of the greatest nicknames in all of baseball, which do you know what his nickname is, Trisha?
I actually don't know what you're referring to. I might know, but I don't know.
So Google it and then you'll find out. Google his nickname.
You're not going to tell her? I want to see a reaction here.
Okay.
Well, that's why I'm Googling it. I'm a little nervous here.
Oh, okay. I figured
I'll just say
tell her and
his
I get
nickname.
reaction.
I'm Googling.
Okay. So speaking of Arch, has he, drawn up an apology yet for,
y'all.
Did you hear that, y'all? That was fantastic. That was a Southern y'all.
That's the Indiana y'all, man. That's
Indiana.
I know, but that's transformed. That was a Southern y'all, I think.
Well, that was
no
was
comment.
That
Comment.
Was that because of the Rich Hill nickname or the Chris Archer thing? I was
The Rich Hill nickname.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, speaking of Chris Archer, I mean, I know he's been gone a couple of years. Has he really kind of settled back into kind of a new role for him? Because when he was with the Rays, he was kind of taking that. When David Price left in that trade to Detroit, it was kind of like all eyes are on Chris Archer to take that number one spot. Has he kind of settled into now he may be a fourth or fifth starter in the rotation? Has he kind of been comfortable with that? Or has he just kind of been like, okay, you know what? I'm going to come in, prove myself to everybody that I'm going to be back to form like I used to be as a Ray.
He's been comfortable with that from the very beginning. And I think one of the things about this Rays front office is that they're very honest with guys, right? They tell them what they expect. And Chris has said from the beginning, whatever the team needs me to do, I will do. Obviously, he views himself as a starter. Every guy does. But I think he's very comfortable with the position that they put him in and however they choose to use him. He has said openly without what we like to call the prompt in an interview, without us prompting him to, he has said over and over again how much more mature he feels that he is now. With the Rays than he was last time around. I think that I'll say this. I think that it will benefit him to be in a place where he's familiar with, right? Okay. In a place where he's comfortable, because he's the first to admit that those last couple of years in Pittsburgh, riddled with injuries, and he struggled. Those were tough years. Those were not good years for him. And he talks about coming back to the Rays like he's coming back to an old friend. And I think that this environment gives him a chance to thrive, especially at his age, right? It gives him a chance to thrive. And I think he's very comfortable with his role. He's just excited, I think, to be a part of a team that has so much potential too. That's what always comes out in conversations with him, is he's just like watching them do what they did last year. He's like, now I'm a part of that. That's awesome. So I think whatever role he is asked to play, he will happily play.
I'm sure he was looking up from the outside in going, man, I got traded for like 2 superstars and a guy waiting to be a superstar and Shane Wizard of Oz down in the minors. So I'm sure he's like, yeah, I would love to come back to this.
Of course. Why would he not? And he said it was a big part of it too. That was a big part of it. And he said familiarity with the organization is a big part of it because, while there has been some turnover, obviously there hasn't been that much turnover in terms of leadership and coaching and everything like that. So I think that he's just happy to be home.
Yeah, he had a lot of good personal relationships here with some of the guys obviously still here, so that's always a good thing. But obviously Choi is going to be out for a couple of weeks, maybe the first month We're going to go into platoon probably with Diaz. And now Yoshi, this is a guy who's been, I think, 30 at-bats total in 2020 and 2021. So tell us a little bit about him. I haven't really seen him much, haven't really heard much about him. So tell me about the Yoster and what we're going to get out of him.
Well, last year for Yoshi, let's think about his situation, right? That is a really tough situation. He's coming over. He has so many adjustments to make, not only because the game is a little bit different over here, but also because he's moving from a totally different country to this country. There's cultural adjustments. There's adjustments within the game. There's a language barrier. Then he has to go back home because of the pandemic. Then he comes back and has to try to adjust in what wasn't a spring training at all, just a camp. Like what do we call camp?
Pretty mini camp. You kind of call it. I don't know.
Use the NFL terms, mini camp. But he had to come back, go through camp, and then he had 60 games to try to adjust to not only the culture, moving, a language barrier, and the game's a little bit different here, right? You know, he always talks about how it moves a little bit faster here. That was so hard. And I do not know how anybody expected him to possibly have the season that he's capable of having under those circumstances. This year, he looks so much more comfortable, and he said that he's so much more comfortable. And Cash and Matola and all the guys have said over and over again, we are expecting big things from him because he looks more comfortable. And, you know, when he's out there playing at first because of the whole Choi injury and everything, he's hitting leadoff. He enjoys that. And he's done well in spring at that spot. And I think if what we're seeing in spring from him is even a tiny glimpse of what we're going to see during the regular season, he's going to live up to the hype. Because you remember when I didn't sign him, when the Rays signed him, I signed Yoshi Sutsugura. When the Rays signed Yoshi, there was a lot of hype. Everybody was really excited about it.
There was,
kind of, you know. And I think that maybe this season he's going to live up to that hype. And Yoshi's a really nice. He's a little shy, but he's a really nice guy. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And he's been playing well at first, so I think that's exciting too, to have that option there.
Trisha, when can we see, because this guy's been in the minors for a couple of years now, Wander Franco, who's the number one prospect in all of baseball. Willie Adames was on the trade block or trade rumors this past offseason. We all know it's going to be coming eventually. That Wander's going to be coming up either this year, maybe earlier than that, maybe before the All-Star break. Will we see Wander Franco at some point this season?
Gosh, that's the golden question, right? If I had the answer to that,
I know, right?
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, you know, I would imagine we would. I don't know why we wouldn't.
Yes, that's what I think.
I did the other day I interviewed Chad Matola, Rays hitting coach Chad Matola, about Wander. And one of the things that he said was, I asked him, I said, this is a guy who there's so much hype surrounding him. I said, A, during spring training, has he lived up to that hype? And B, has he let that hype affect him? That's a lot of pressure. People don't realize that being the top prospect in baseball, that's so much pressure. I mean, you can't do any wrong, right? Or else that's going to be the headline. And Chad just said, yeah, he's lived up to the hype and then some. And he said, I've been so impressed with how he has handled that hype because he doesn't let the pressure affect him. And if that's what they're saying during spring training, I would imagine that we might see him at the major league level this season. I hope we do because, oh man, I just feel so bad for those guys for last season because you can't help but think, what if they would have had a minor league season, especially, you know, Wander Franco, guys like Joe Ryan, guys like Shea, I mean, everybody, you just feel for them because it took away a year of progression,
right?
A year where we could have seen some debuts. I mean, I feel for them so much. And
well, in a way, it's also good.
They got called up this season.
it's good and bad too because it gives time for guys like Brent Honeywell to get rest because now he's apparently back to 100%. Guys like
we hope so.
I got to say this too. The guys in the Rays farm system and guys that they have, I think the Rays have the best hair in all of baseball. You've got Honeywell's got some locks. Glasnell's got probably the best hair in all the league. And then Brendan McKay, I think, has got a huge mane now. He looks like a tiger. So I think the Rays have got that going. They should be the new spokespeople for Pantene Pro V.
Tyler was rocking the man bun today, actually. I got a picture sent to me.
Really? Really?
It was like a man bun or just like a ponytail. I don't know what it was, but it was impressive. I think it was Tyler. Yeah, it was impressive.
Impressive mane of hair.
Yeah.
So let's look at this season as a whole and compare. I want to get your thoughts and you can maybe give me your opinion on this compared to last season's team, which was an abbreviated season, of course. So we're getting like a half of a team here. What do you think about this 2021 Rays team compared to last year? Have they gotten worse, better, or they stayed the same? I'm putting you on the hot seat. I am.
You sure are. But here's the thing. Obviously, like I said earlier, losing Blake Snell and Charlie Morton hurts. And Eric Neander, the Rays GM, said that from the beginning. I remember interviewing him right after that happened on a Zoom press conference. Somebody asked him, I don't remember who it was. It might have been me, I don't know. But somebody asked him, how do you view what you have now, right? Without Blake and without Charlie. And he said, well, we would be silly to say that we're as good as we were. And
Right.
that's true. That's true. But if you look everywhere else on the roster, there's not a lot of turnover from the World Series roster.
True.
And of course it hurts to lose Charlie and Blake. Absolutely. But they're not desolate. They didn't lose. Who else did they lose? They didn't lose anybody else. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
That's who they lost. And I think if they can overcome that from a pitching standpoint, they're going to be just as good. I really do think so. I mean, where else? Where else is the drop off? I mean, seriously, I don't see anywhere else where there's a drop off. And guys like when we saw what guys like Brandon Lau could do in the regular season, obviously the postseason for him was disappointing. That made him so mad what he did in the postseason. These guys while they are very happy with how they did last year and it's something to be celebrated, they're not really talking about last year that much. They're just talking about, we know what we can do. Let's go out and do it again, but do it even better and finish the job. I really think they're going to be just as good this year, if not a little better, honestly. Again, you cannot replace Charlie Morton and Blake Snell. I don't like it when people are like, "Oh, we're fine without them." No, like those guys
That's not true.
No, it's not true. It's not true. But if they can put together a starting pitching rotation, the Rays, like they use openers, they squeeze by, they use their numbers, they use strategy. They've been called the Moneyball team over and over again. They always find a way, and that sounds so cliche, but it's so true. I know they didn't make it past the ALDS in 2019, but they found a way then too to be one of the best teams in baseball. So I think they will this season.
Yeah, I know one more question for me, Bushman, and then I'm good. But Glasnow has to step up this year. Obviously, he's kind of wanting to get into that number one role, or maybe not wanting to. He's kind of having to step into that number one role, maybe expected. Tell me what you think. Do you think the team around him, obviously, we've seen him go out before in the first couple of games and get roughed up in an inning or two. Do you think you can see maybe a step forward coming for him, hopefully maturity with a guy like Hill in the locker room, like you alluded to before, saying having that guy is going to be important to him? Do you think he takes that next step and kind of embraces being the number one?
I absolutely do. And one of the reasons that I do is because
His hair will make him a number one all day.
Yep.
The Simpson hair. Don't nobody cut his hair. But I do. And what's funny is day before yesterday, whatever day it was, Sunday, I did an interview with Tyler, a one-on-one interview about being the opening day starter. And one of the things I like about Tyler is he does use his emotion to his advantage, right? You guys see him on the middle. When he gets mad, it's evident, right?
Yep.
However, he is somewhat even-keeled when it comes to hype. right? So when it comes to being the opening day starter, he's like, yeah, like that's awesome, but it doesn't really change my approach. I'm still going to go out there and do the same thing that I was going to do. And he's been working this spring to add a little bit to his repertoire, right? So he thinks that extra pitch is going to help him a little bit. And I do think he's going to live up to hype. There's a reason why, you'll read a lot of articles that are like, well, could Tyler be a Cy Young candidate at some point? I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that he's ready to, I really don't want to say take that next step because he's already got elite stuff. He's already so good. But is he ready to be in that number one role? Absolutely, without a doubt. And I think that, when I talked to him about being the opening day starter, he's like, this is what I've been working for. Like, I expected this. This is what I wanted. So I do think he's ready. And if you read, there was a great article written by Mark Topkin in the Tampa Bay Times about how Tyler uses his emotions and his anger to his advantage and his benefit. And I think we're going to see a really good version of Tyler Glass now this season. And like you said, obviously Rich Hill is the veteran in the clubhouse, 41 years old. But Tyler is the guy. He's the guy. I remember last year, what was it? ALCS, ALDS? I don't remember. World Series. No, it was World Series. Kevin Cash was like, Charlie Morton's the guy we're putting on the mound for game one. Why would we not? He's our guy. We trust him. This year, I think that's going to be Tyler.
Good. Oh, I like the sound of that. That's perfect.
Trisha,
I hope I'm right.
Well,
that's
Trisha,
you're guaranteeing that. I'm holding you to that.
Well, Trisha, we want to get you out of here. I know you got to head over to Ferg's pretty soon. Are they sending you down to Miami for opening day at all, or are you staying up here in St. Pete?
I will be in Miami, yes, for opening day.
Good.
I'll be distanced from the team, but I will be there doing reports, and I'll be doing that. So when we come home for the Yankees series, I will be able to actually interview some of the guys in person from a distance with the protocols in place. But we've worked that out, and I'm really excited about that. So it'll be similar to spring training where I'll be able to be in person. But on the road, there's a lot of different protocols that go into place because it's not our home. So maybe eventually we'll be on the road. We'll see.
Awesome. Well, Trisha, thanks for coming on the show. You can follow her on Twitter at Trisha Whitaker. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the home opener for the Rays.
That'll be a good one.
Against the Skankies.
Enjoy opening day, Trisha.
Yep.
You guys too. We'll see you later.
See you,
All
Trisha.
Right.
Bye. Well,
dude, always great to catch up with her.
Always great to have her on the show.
She's got the inside scoop on the team, and you can just tell that she's bummed. She has such a great chemistry with the guys, obviously, and has been there for a little bit. So you know that she's really pumped up and excited about having the opportunity to interview him in person and get back to some normalcy when it comes to covering the Rays.
I know. I think she's got that. Like, I'm glad to be back doing what I love to do, and especially when she's down there. Because, I mean, we see the telecast for the spring training game so far, and she's just been having a ball down there. Even though she's, having that plexiglass divider and having to wear a mask when she's talking to all the players. But always great to have her on. Hope she has a good time down in Miami for the home opener against the Miami Marlins. Chip, did you see the article today about the Trop possibly being on top of a cemetery?
We talked about it a little bit. I know that I perused it lightly, but I'm kind of I'm laughing on the inside. By the way, I just wanted to give a quick update. Blue Jackets just scored against the Lightning. Unfortunately, Blue Jackets are up 1-0. There's 10:49 left in the second period.
Yeah,
but no, tell me what you got there as far as that article.
Well, they don't know if it's true or not. There's speculation that the Trop. Let me pull up the article right here. And while I'm doing that, Chip, you want to give a plug to our sponsor, Scary Stories?
Our new sponsors, Sunday Scary CBD.
Yeah, Sunday Scaries,
buddy. And you and I both know. Sometimes I got a hard time winding down, but I'm really good at staying awake and just staring at my ceiling. So I'm always looking for new ways, to get my stuff together and at least get some good night's sleep. So what I found is that Sunday Scaries realizes the products they have are specifically for overthinkers like me, buddy. Because you know what? I have to overthink because I have an under amount of brain cells. So CBD, Scary Sundays, great product. You can go on their website, and the first order you get is going to be 20% off, or excuse me, 25% off.
I tell you what,
no risk. That's right. There's no risk to buy. So it'll be CBD gummies. It can help you decompress, clear your head, and then fall asleep and get a great night's sleep.
I tell you one thing, the package that they sent me, I did an unboxing the other day. It's on Instagram right now.
I saw it on Instagram.
They give you these CBD gummies, which Chip, these will be yours.
Those are going to be mine. Okay.
The Sunday Scaries drops. These will be for Kaylee. But I tried out the unicorn jerky, which, by the way, it's not beef jerky. It's not horse jerky.
I was going to say, what does it look like?
It looks like.
Can I see it?
That is the unicorn jerky, and I dabble in.
It's like a piece of bazooka gum that's multicolored, multifaceted.
You remember that gum had the multicolors on it? It was the zebra gum back in the day. I don't know if they make it anymore.
Zebra stripes.
Zebra striped gum. That's what it looks like. And I tell you what, I ate a couple of the CBD gummies a day, or CBD jerky, and it was I felt a little bit relaxed while I was doing my my day job. So
you're good.
Go to do the website, use the promo code Bush, 25% off. You're all good. So
that's right.
So yeah,
Sunday Scaries.
.com. So yeah, speaking of that cemetery,
yes, give it to me.
So this came out on Fox 13, Tampa Bay today. I guess archaeologists are spending a week at Tropicana Field looking for evidence of a lost African American cemetery that may have been paved over decades ago. So what do you?
Wow.
Could that be the reason why the Rays haven't won a World Series yet? Is because of the bad juju that they built the trop over the cemetery? That could be like a poltergeist situation.
I mean, it could very well be a poltergeist situation. I think we need to move forward our stadium plans. Let's get another site, get the juju out of that area, and let's move forward. I mean, yeah, let's get a new stadium built and let's bail. I mean, let's not let that affect any more contest whatsoever.
That's true. And speaking
of reach back out to Sternberg, what's the story here?
I'm not speaking to Stu right now.
Well, let's get Stu on the horn. Tell him he's got buried bad stuff underneath the stadium. We got to get out of there.
He's going to have a poltergeist situation.
Could be bad, Stu. You might want to hurry.
And speaking of moving forward, there's nothing like moving forward than putting on a great pair of sneakers. And what better way to get your pair of sneakers is to go to eBay. Our newest sponsor, eBay. Whether rare dead stock or the latest release, find the exact shoe you're looking for. As the original sneaker marketplace, eBay is the place to go to cop the pair you've been eyeing. With eBay's authenticity guarantee, boom, I said it, authenticity. Take a shot. Your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional authenticators. The team of experienced sneaker authenticators verify the box. Box, logo, stitching, and dozens of other inspection points. Each sneaker also receive an authenticity guarantee. Boom, there's another one. Tag that includes a digital stamp of authenticity. And it also protects sellers with verified return process. Go to ebay.com/sneakers today. eBay, the world's best destination of discovering great value and unique selection. Go to eBay. Get your sneakers right now.
Buddy, great job. I just got to see that copy one time. I've never seen it. You and Kaylee have done the ad reads for.
You want to do it next week?
But I've never seen all the A's. I hear authenticity.
Yeah. It's the A's.
I don't know what you guys get, but yeah, I'll take a look at it just to laugh. So did you answer? I saw Franklin in the comments. He wanted to talk about Randy A, and I know I missed that.
I did. Yeah, I think. I saw that question too. I think he was asking about Randy Arozarena.
Oh, there you go. He just popped back up. We're selling things too, Franklin. We got to sell some things and talking about.
Yeah, we got to plug our sponsors, Franklin. We got to do that.
They keep the lights on.
Yeah, they keep the show going with our sponsors there, buddy. So I mean, obviously, I don't even know what he's referring to because Randy
is not a rookie.
He's not a rookie anymore. Yeah. Well, technically, he kind of is.
Well, kind of.
If he's, I know there's a lot of hype going into the season. If he can, take what he did in the playoffs and turning it into a regular season, performance and be that rookie of the year. Cause a lot of people are hyping him up to be a rookie of the year this season.
Yeah.
I know he is dealing with a little bit of minor soreness. So, that's precaution that the Rays will take. Obviously he's going to be ready for opening day. The legal stuff, has already been taken care of. So Franklin, you got to be more specific when you're asking, what's the deal with Randy Arozarena. So let me know. We'll get back to that subject. So, Chip, with the whole opening day coming up, you and I are both big baseball guys. I'm excited that, things are kind of getting back to normal. Fans are going to be brought back to stadiums. I'm actually going to opening day for the Rays when they play the Yankees next week. So I'm hyped about that. But yeah, it's back to normalcy now, even though it's, 9,000 people, but still being able to see baseball in the stadium again is going to be great. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too. And like we said, baseball now will have the light kind of on them in regards to, getting through the season and having protocols, and hopefully things will ramp, and hopefully everybody will hopefully we can get to full capacity, as quickly as possible. I was going to ask Trisha if she had heard anything about, if they had targeted, or maybe MLB has talked about having a date maybe where they think they want to be at full capacity. Have you heard anything? Or they haven't said anything, I don't think.
What I think they're probably going to do is see how if I was commissioner, the commish, the stooge that he is, I would look at what happens during the first half of the season. If protocols are being, met, players are getting tested, the safety approach to how bringing fans, and there's not a huge outbreak of COVID, COVID-19, cases. I think baseball's got to look at this. Okay, first half went well. Maybe we should up, the capacity of attendance going in the stadium in the second half of the season, because then you got playoffs coming up. You want fans there because you're going to make more money, especially for TV money. I think that's what they should do. You got to look at that first half. If everything goes well and there's no setbacks, which I don't think they are. I think by now, especially with all the vaccines going out and everybody getting vaccine, that things are going to trend down with the number of cases that's going to happen. So I think baseball should look at that.
You're dying, cough. It's okay. Go straighten out.
Baseball should look at that and say, first half went well. Maybe let's increase the attendance in the second half.
Yeah, I think All-Star, hopefully that'll be a good spot. And I think that most of the players, all the guys, are going to have access to the vaccination, I think, and the franchise, they'll have to make that call on players and see if they'll get it. Franklin just popped up. He said he's going to be in the opener.
No, we hit it right on the nail about the stiffness and everything. So everything is going to be good to go. He's going to start opening day. But yeah, he's technically a rookie still. So he can compete for rookie of the year if he's going to be a full year starter, which he will be. So yeah, I'm glad that we hit the nail on the head for you, Franklin. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Continue to turn in, and thank you for listening, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. So, Chip, let's talk a little football.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's talk a little bit of the Buccaneers. First, I want to bring up, I think, probably one of the greatest coaches out there right now, Bruce Arians, our Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach.
Fearless leader of the Bucs. Not only appeared on the Loose Cannons podcast, which catapulted our boys over the Loose Cannons into the stratosphere of being a podcast. But Bruce Arians also got a tattoo yesterday. And look how glorious that is on his skin, that Buccaneers tattoo. You can't get any better than that, where a coach commits to something, especially when follows through. I mean, what a guy. What a guy. Hey. Cheers to that.
Cheers to Bruce.
He'd probably get another one too, I bet, if they win again.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. That guy's out of his mind right now. So
he's having a lot of fun. And that we've already heard talks of some of the quotes he's had about kicking everybody's butt when they get back to from being off and preseason and everything. I'll get riled up here in the next couple of months, but it'll be good to see what happens. And everybody already has their brain and their focus set forward to going back to back. They signed all the players, first team I think since 1979 to return all 22 starters from winning a Super Bowl. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, all the things seem to be lining up well, and now they just have to get back in there. They know what they have to do for work. They've won before, so you got to match that effort and that output.
Chip, I got to ask you, and we talked about this last week.
Yeah,
about the possibility of everybody come back, and I think everybody, we
starters on offense and defense are all back. Yeah, not the same roster, pretty close though.
We all were like, maybe a couple of guys are probably going to go to free agency. We all thought Lombardi Lenny, playoff Lenny, was one of those guys that was probably going to be gone. Not the case. He is back with signing with the Bucs for a 1-year deal and a very modest deal. He didn't get any kind of big money, I guess, he wasn't getting any offers out there, or maybe he was like, you know what, I'm in a good situation. let's go for 2 with this team that I love being on. We're having fun playing football. The one question I have for you, Chip, is, who is this clear starter now? Is there a running back controversy in Tampa with Rojo and Lombardi Lenny?
I think that what the team is going to do, and you're going to bring all these guys back in. I think Fournette is scheduled to make a smidgen more than Rojo. Keyshawn Vaughn is still there. So, I mean, I think you're going to go in maybe, and people are going to expect Leonard Fournette, because he did so well. Rojo was a little bit banged up towards the end, but they're great. They complement each other. I think they do really well together. So most NFL teams run a 2-back system anyways. So there are a couple that don't, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's 2 people combined into one.
Yeah, so. He is 2 people. So, I mean, most of the teams are doing that anyways. So, I mean, as a starter, I guess you can kind of say maybe he is. I think Rojo, obviously the pass catching and being out of the backfield, Fournette does an okay job, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He can do it. I just think Rojo has a little bit more explosion catching those passes and having the ability to take it the distance. So I think those guys will run in tandem. So
it's almost like a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt kind of tandem, which is those 2 guys over in Cleveland do a great job. And look at this too, Chip. I mean, we've got playoff Lenny now for a full season. Like this past year, he came in halfway through the season. Now we've got him for the full 17 games now instead of the 16 games. So that'll be interesting to see how that dynamic goes, because now, the last really guy on the totem pole to be signed is Antonio Brown. Do you think Antonio Brown's going to come back, or do you think I know Seattle's going to try and court him, and do you think Antonio Brown's going to be back? He was on Instagram the other day saying, hey, Brady and me we're going to be going for and Franklin, by the way, we're not running it back, man. That's Kansas City Chiefs. We don't say that in Tampa Bay, bro. It's going for 2. All right, buddy. we don't say running back, baby.
I'll tell you right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers on the roster right now.
Right.
So, I mean, I want if Tom Brady wants Antonio Brown to come back, then the Buccaneers will do everything in their power to get him here. I guess we're going to have to see. They've spent all their money, and
Chip, they've got fun coupons. They'll bring Antonio Brown back for Tom Brady. And
I think that'll be Tom Brady has the ability to pull the trigger on that number, and he can say, "Hey, I need this guy," or "I want this guy," and I think the organization will obviously side with Tom Brady and go get him. So that'll be up to do. Personally, I think they have enough firepower right now with where they are, but Tom Brady, as we all know, can play the card and get somebody on the team if he would like. So,
yeah, because you got Tyler Johnson, you've got Scotty, you got Scooter Miller right there too. So if they don't bring back Antonio Brown, then you're going to promote one of those guys up to have a bigger role for this coming year. So, I mean, whatever they did to create the cap space for playoff Lenny, magical. I want you to be my stocks and bonds guy. I want you to be my financial advisor. I want you to move some money from me because that was just pure magic doing all that to bring all 22 starters back. That's amazing.
You know what I think? And one of the people I thought would either be gone or be traded, and maybe this still happens, maybe in the draft, I'm not sure. O.J. Howard. I thought, right now you got 5 tight ends on the roster.
Yep.
You brought back Gronk. You have Cameron Brate. You got O.J. Howard. You got Gronk. I mean, you got a whole stable of tight ends, and both those guys right now, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. O.J. Howard's due $6 million. Cameron Brate is due $6.25. So why wouldn't you? You could sign an AB for getting rid of one of those guys, probably. What do you try to trade one of those guys? Do you think maybe they get any value as we get closer to the draft?
I think you're right. That's a great question because that was a question looming from them last year. Remember, we on our draft show last year, we were thinking, okay, you've got Cam Brate. I think they just signed just signed Gronk.
Yeah.
So now that question is up. It kind of comes in the air again for this coming draft. Is okay, who's going to be the odd man out? Because OJ was lost for that whole year with the injury. Brate's making a lot of money. I mean, he did some good things this year as well. Who's going to be the odd man out? If you look at, it's almost like who's expendable? Is it the guy making more money or the guy that got injured and you haven't really seen anything from him? You know what I mean? And it's I know teams are going to be calling on draft day, like, hey, look, I'll give you probably a 4th or 5th rounder for OJ or something. Or maybe a 3rd or 4th rounder for Cam Brate. Teams are going to be calling. Obviously, the Bucs going to look at it as well. If we offload Cam Brate, that's money we don't have to. That's money we can take off the books. You know what I mean? Yeah. Franklin, of course, chiming in saying trade OJ. It's almost like trading OJ would be a good deal, but what's the value you're going to get out of him? Because you haven't really seen a full. You've seen a full season of him, but he wasn't utilized that well.
Yeah, so, and I mean, he was a 1st-round pick.
Right, exactly. So, Chip, if you're Jason Light, what are you going to trade OJ, or would you try and keep them all 3, or would you trade Cam Brate?
I mean, unfortunately, we've had to put, I think, Howard on IR. He was drafted in 2017, and I think he's been on IR 3 out of the 4 seasons.
Yep.
So I mean, he's the one that's getting hurt, and he's not making it through a full season. And I think it's going to come down to draft. I mean, if you're going to trade him, take the one you're going to get a higher offer on. I mean, I think that after this year, Howard is going to be out. I mean, this is the last year. We just had some football news pop up. Colt McCoy is going to sign a 1-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals. There you go. Additional free agency news. But I think whichever one will draw a different, whatever you get the best one for maybe, and just hope and pray that O.J. Howard can be healthy 1 year. You have Gronk, he's dependable, and you want to use Brate if you can. But hopefully one of those guys, knowing you have Gronk and knowing that he can play, right, one of those guys has to be expendable. So get what you can for one of them and see what you do, see what you can move on from.
I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. I definitely think there's going to be some definite moves on draft night, especially with those two guys. I mean, you never know. We might see, with all the craziness that's going on in the NFL this past week with the Dolphins and the 49ers making crazy-ass trades for picks. You never know what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm excited for the draft coming up. I know you are, Chip. You've been doing, draft analysis all day.
Oh, well, buddy, I mean, I think that trade really does solidify kind of the top half of the draft, knowing that everybody buckle up. Quarterbacks are going to be coming, and they're going to be coming fast. So, obviously the Niners moved up to 3. So they're probably going to, take a quarterback. I know we heard notes today. Mac Jones had a pro day today, so we heard that the 49ers are kind of leaning towards Mac, but I mean, this is all going to be hearsay now. So you're going to get a lot of, smoke and a lot of fog in the next month or so, obviously until the draft on the 29th of April. So we'll see. But another team in the NFC South, both the Panthers and the Falcons are going to have decisions to make. Falcons obviously a little bit more readily available for a quarterback now at 4. And the Panthers obviously are going to have to jump, to get a quarterback potentially, depending upon what happens. But you can kind of say right now, it seems like the first three picks are looking like they could be quarterback.
Chip, I got to ask you a question before we get on out of here.
Yeah, buddy.
There was a rumor that the Bucs were entertaining the idea of bringing over Larry Fitzgerald. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't see the value in that. I don't see the reasoning in that. Not to mention, I don't know if you can afford them, but
I would rather have AB than Fitz.
Well, yeah, I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's under contract, so whatever he's making, you're going to have to pay. And the Bucs brass have been amazing at moving capital around to sign everybody. I don't know how much is left, but you already have you have 15 or 16 million in Evans. You got 16 million in Godwin, so you got $32 million in 2 wide receivers already. I think we're good to go in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Before we get out of here, any last notes, news, comments?
No, I think, like we said, baseball this week coming through, which will be great. We want Kaylee to hopefully get better, and we'll see her smiling face next week.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hope she gets better. Well, thanks for Tricia Whitaker coming on the show. She's always a blast to have on our podcast. And
Franklin, by the way, Trey Lance looks like the real deal. Holyfield, he'll be a gamble. He'll probably be taken in the top 10, I think. Carolina looks like a good deal for him. He will drop, I think, but it would be interesting.
Look at you doing your draft analysis.
Oh God, dude, I love it. That kid has got an arm and energy for days. Unfortunately, only played 1 game last year. Played a little bit. Obviously, North Dakota State competition's a little bit different, but whoever gets that guy is going to have a great quarterback for years to come.
All right, well, this has been another episode of Play the Bay podcast. You can catch us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, streaming on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow us on Facebook at Play the Bay 2020, Twitter at Play the Bay TB, and now on Instagram at Play the Bay TB. We are sponsored by the Bleed Podcast Network and also $3 Brewing and Sunday Scaries. Make sure to tune in next Sunday Scaries. Make sure to tune in next week, guys. Baseball's in full swing. Chip and I are going to get silly this weekend up in St. Pete. So
happy birthday to you.
I'm going to be old. Don't worry. Well, thanks again, guys. Thanks for tuning in the comments. We'll see you guys next week. Let's get on out of here.
Raise up.
Thanks for listening to Play the Bay. We'll be back again with another episode on the Believe Podcasting Network. If interested in advertising, please contact Believe.com.